Welcome to the Runner's Strength MOT, a complete test to assess your strength and stability across 4 key areas to help you identify weak areas so you can enjoy your running for longer and stay injury free. The 4 key areas are lower body, core stability and endurance, hip and glute strength, and leg power. So let's get straight in to see how we complete this test. First up is the lower section, where you're going to be completing single leg exercises to monitor your strength and stability across your lower body. So you're going to start off with the single leg squat reps. You're going to complete reps on both your left leg and your right leg and record both scores into the system. So the single leg squat reps need to be completed where your knee will bend at a 90-degree angle at the back of the knee to make sure that every single rep counts. You are not going to sit down and rest and come back up. You're going to squat to a depth. You're going to touch your hamstrings, your glutes onto the bench or box, and then come straight back up and go into the second rep without standing on that hanging leg. So that hanging leg does not touch the floor until you've completed the test. If your leg does touch the floor, you become unstable. That is test done, and that is your number. You're then going to do exactly the same for the single leg calf raise, both on left leg and right leg. Both scores count towards the test. Again, we're making sure that we're not resting on our heel when we do come down. We're going straight back into that next rep. And the hanging leg, so the leg that's not on the floor, remains off the floor for the entirety of the test. You will do exactly the same for the single leg RDL. Again, making sure that when you come down, your back is parallel to the floor, and when you come back up, that hanging leg is not touching down to regain balance. As soon as it does touch down or you lose balance, strength or stability, that is test over, and that's the number. Okay, now the Y balance test. So for this test, you're going to take your shoes off and you're basically going to stand on one leg. So ideally on a plate or on a pad or on a point, so your leg doesn't move, your foot doesn't move, you've got the same location for measuring afterwards. You're going to stand on one leg, hands on your hips at all times, and the idea is you stretch this hanging leg out as far out in front of you as you can. So if you use a disc like we've got or a piece of paper, you're going to stretch without putting weight down on it, and then come back, regain your balance for the next direction. So again, hands on hips, stretch at a 45-degree angle behind you, so diagonally behind you, as far as you can without putting weight down, and then back up. Get your balance again, and then the third and final direction, again 45-degree angle, diagonally at the back, without putting weight down, you're just touching it to move it, and then back up. Okay, now you have these 3 distances. You're going to measure from the central point of where your foot was to the central point of your piece of paper, disc, pad, whatever that might be, okay? You're going to measure this distance, and then of course the final distance, and note them down on a pad. Then you're going to measure from your hip bone, okay, so somewhere around here, all the way down in a straight line, okay, to your inside ankle bone. And you're going to note that measurement down on a piece of paper or a whiteboard. So now you have your 3 distances, 1, 2, 3, and your leg length, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take one distance, you're going to divide that by your leg length, and then multiply by 100 to give you a percentage. So for this leg in this direction was 109 centimeters, divided by my leg length of 90, and multiplied by 100 gave me a percentage of 121%. You then do that for each distance on that one leg, okay, so 102 divided by 90 multiplied by 100, 83, that was the front for me, divided by 90 multiplied by 100 gave me 92%. You then add up those 3 percentages and divide by 3 to give you an average score, for me, of 109%. You then do that for the other leg. For me, that was 108% across all 3 directions. The average score was 108. You add up both leg total percentages divide them by 2, and that gives you a total composite percentage score for me of 109%. That is the number you put in to the wide balance score on our Runner Strength MOT online. Next up is the core stability and endurance section of our Runner Strength MOT test. You're going to start off with the plank, and this is a total time recording, okay? So elbows underneath shoulders, and then from this position, feet out, shoulders, hips and ankles all in one straight line. You're going to record the time you can hold in this position. If your hips drop, it's a fail, end of test, take the time. If your hips are too high, that's a fail as well. So stay as strict as possible in this perfect plank position. Once you've recorded that time, you're then going to go and do a side plank on both sides. So for a side plank, elbow underneath shoulder. The idea is my body is in a nice straight line in that up position. You can put your arm up to help you, but as soon as your hips dip or go too high, okay, or your body's twisted, end of test. So make sure body in a nice straight line from ankles, hips to shoulder, and a straight line down the body. Hold that for as long as you possibly can. You're going to do that both sides, and you're only going to record your weakest side into the test result. Once you've done those 2 tests, you're then going to complete the core stability and endurance test section with dead bug reps. So dead bug reps on the floor, on your back, arms out, straight up in front of you, knees bent, your lower back pressed into the floor so there's no gap, you can't get in underneath, and then from here alternate, left leg and right arm, right leg, left arm, and keep going until you fail. And that is your test score. Next up is the hip and glute strength section of the test. We're going to start off with a single leg bridge hold. So go into the single leg bridge hold position. You can put your arms out if you want. Go up into the single bridge, lifting your leg. Your thighs should be parallel. As soon as your hip drops or it's just too high, it's a test fail. So keep your hips, knees and shoulders in one nice straight line. As soon as those hips drop down, you've completed that side. Do that both sides and only record your weakest side into the test result. The next test is the clam reps test. So for this, you're going to get a resistance band around just above your knees. You're going to bend the knee at 90, feet together. Do as many repetitions of this without stopping as possible. Complete one side, mark down your score. Go immediately into the next side, as many reps as you can. Record your score. You will only input the number from your weakest side into the test result online. You're now going to complete single leg step down reps. So on your first leg, stand on a box or a bench, and you're going to squat down, touch the floor, don't stand on the floor, and come back up. With minimal rest at the top, as many reps as you can. Once you've completed that side, go on to the other side, squat down, touch, and back up again, okay? As many reps as you possibly can. For this score, again, lowest leg goes into the test result online. And to finish off the hip and glute section of this test, you're going to go into a glute bridge hold. So on the floor, knees bent, hands down, and just hold this position. Perfect line from my knees, hips and shoulders. Nice straight line for as long as you can. As soon as you start to dip, test over, record the time and put it into the test result online. And for the last section of the Runner Strength MOT, you are going to test leg power. So this is single leg work. So the first one is a single leg forward hop. So you're going to stand on one leg behind a line. You're then going to jump as far as you can, landing on that same leg, and stay there and measure from your toe back to the line. That is the measurement. You then repeat that test for your other leg, making sure you remain balanced and relax. Again, measure from your toe all the way back to the line from where you started. You put both scores into the test online in centimetres. The second part of the leg power test is the rebound test. And for this test, you will put a plate, a cone, an object just in front of the line, so you're stood behind the line on one leg. You're going to hop over the object and land. Imagine there's a square box just after the object. You land in that box and immediately hop again forward, landing on two legs. So, for example, first leg, hop, measure the distance from your toes back to the line, okay? Repeat the test again on the other leg, hop, jump, land. From your toes back to the line. That is your score. Make sure you put both leg scores into the test online. The important thing with the leg power test is we're not interested in overall distance. What we're interested in is the difference in leg power between your left and your right leg. So make sure it's accurate to the centimetre. And that is the Runner's Strength MOT test. It is an absolutely free test. Once you put your numbers and your measurements into every single box online on our Google form, which I will link down in the description, our system will immediately send you an email with your score out of 130 potential points. What's important about this test isn't just your overall number. More importantly, it's to identify a weak area for you to improve over the next 6, 8 to 12 weeks for you to become a better runner, whether that be faster, more efficient, maybe you can run for longer, but more importantly, more injury-free. Because we all know as runners, we pick up niggles because of our weaknesses, and then we don't correct those weaknesses either.